Festive Miracle. Metal Supermarkets offers in-house bending, often by the next day. Plus, metal cut to your exact specifications. Fast. The convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
Get into the holiday spirit with Stingray's free TV channels. Stream festive music hits, relax to our wellness channels, or enjoy stunning winter escapes right on your TV. Search for Stingray on your smart TV to start watching today.
This month in Sports History Moment is brought to you by Discount Diesel Parts.
On December 5th, 1976, the Toronto Maple Leafs and Minnesota North Stars engaged in one of the wildest NHL games of the decade, featuring a massive bench-clearing brawl. Led by fiery figures like Tiger Williams and Willie Plett, the chaos produced an astonishing 257 penalty minutes. The game became an infamous snapshot of 1970s hockey, an era defined by toughness, rivalries, and physical intensity.
Hi, folks. This is Big Al from Discount Diesel Parts. Interstate McBee is a highly respected manufacturer with over 70 years' experience in the heavy-duty diesel engine parts industry. And as an authorized dealer, we've been serving Western Canada with those high-quality engine parts for highway trucks, farm machinery, heavy equipment, transit, and marine, and at a great price, too. Reach us at discountdiesel.ca and know that Discount Diesel's got the parts to get it done.
This Christmas, taste the flavors of the season at Farmhouse Bakery in Camrose. We believe in baking that brings back memories. That's why our 3 kinds of fruitcake are made the old-fashioned way. Dense, delicious, and packed with real fruit and nuts. You'll also find buttery shortbread, Norwegian spice cookies, and all the other goodies that make the holidays special. Christmas traditions from our 4th-generation family farm to you. Farmhouse Bakery, next to Dairy Queen, Camrose.
The weather turned faster than you expected. You were focused on the slick roads, not the drinks you had with dinner. Now, a simple traffic stop has become an impaired driving charge, and your future feels uncertain. I'm Shannon Gunn-Emery with Gun Law Group. We understand that life is complicated and mistakes happen. Our job is to defend you and protect what's important, your license, your job, and your record. Get a dedicated team on your side. Visit gunlawgroup.ca. That's GUNN lawgroup.ca.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Happy holidays, everybody. The smooth, crooning tones of Michael Bublé, our Canadian treasure at Christmas time in particular. Welcome to our show. Paul Sir here on Hoop City with the great holiday Josh Fenwick. Is that what your friends calling you, holiday Josh? Or?
Yeah, that's me.
I thought so.
Full of Christmas cheer. No bah humbugs on this side of the board here, Paul. So I'm rearing and ready to go for today.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to everyone watching.
And we have a special guest today, the host of the newest program on Sports 1440, Manib Khan, joins us this morning as well. Manib, once we get your microphone on, there we go. Welcome. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. So happy to be here. Thank you for having me. The Manib Khan show stream on Sports 1440. This is going to be our 3rd week. Can't wait. Obviously, our show it's kind of fun. It's we wanted to create friendship on air, obviously, and we're just 4 sports fans, and that's kind of the vibe of our show. And we cover all sports, not just football, basketball, and things like that, but everything in between and all the things happening in the sports world. And there's a lot happening in the sports world right now. This is a great time of year. Meaningful football is happening. Meaningful basketball is happening. How about the Wolves?
Got to go with the Wolves. I have to tell you guys, I had, even in my advanced age, there are life's simple pleasures once in a while that you really enjoy. My wife of 44 years.
Whoa.
I know. We got serious numbers here. Like that, our stat line is big.
Yeah.
And we're beating the odds every day. So pure bliss for my wife, of course. But my wife dances. She is part of a dance group. I have two beautiful granddaughters who dance as well. She started dancing a year ago. Now, here's the deal. I love it when she goes to dance. She's doing something she loves, and I've got the remote in the TV, and I can just do the man cave thing with abandon. Have to be kind of conscientious. You're not married for 44 years if you're not listening and paying attention. But the other night, Denver is on. Oh my God. Great football game.
Great football game.
Gosh.
One of the best.
One of the best ever.
Yeah, one of the best
ever.
Interesting 2-point conversion, but.
Well, yeah. Like to actually go with that 2-point conversion, to overrule it and do something unprecedented, incredible. And then also, of course, got to watch the Raptors play as well. So we have and speaking of which, that'll be a good segue into our show today. We have some great guests. And after I tell everybody about our guest lineup, Josh will talk about our poll question. We've got Tori Hill. Tori is the reigning coach of the year for the King's University women's basketball team. And Tori succeeded the great Brian Anstice. Brian left us earlier this year. He battled bravely against cancer. And Tori's going to come on and talk about a fundraiser, a memorial tribute to Brian that will happen very early, first weekend in January. She's going to talk to us about that. We also have on Ryan Wolstad. I haven't had Ryan on for a while. He's with the Toronto Sun, covers the Raptors. So we'll be able to get, I think, a good feel from Ryan about the progress that this team is making through the year. And I think they've surprised a lot of people, to be honest. That I don't think people expected them, after the struggles they've had, to be this good this early, and yet there's still spotty play, and there's still question marks about lineup construction. So we'll talk about that with Ryan. And then we do the holiday deep dive with Ben Golliver, my favorite guest, obviously. And Ben from the Washington Post. On our X promotion for the show, we show Ben with the NBA Cup in Vegas. He's in the locker rooms with the Knicks and talking about what the Knicks are doing after the Cup, just having some beers. We just get such an incredible high level experience with Ben.
You're allowed to have beers in the locker room now?
I think so.
Why not? You won the NBA Cup.
Well, Nico took it away from Luka, so I thought maybe.
That's different. They were watching his weight, and also Nico Harrison got fired, so I don't think we have a problem with that anymore.
Oh, Nico! One of the great stories of 25 is Nico Harrison. Just bizarro world of Nico Harrison.
So we don't think Jalen Brunson might get traded because of this?
Boy, there's some misses. Dallas has had some interesting misses. Jalen Brunson, Steve Nash. Let's go back in history, So very, very interesting. So our poll question for today, Josh, this is building on our question from last week, because last week, myself included, we're singing the praises of the Thunder, unbeatable. A little bit of a different, I thought this would be a good question to revisit this week.
Oh, absolutely. Direct wording, follow up from last week with the OKC Thunder losing 2 of their last 3. What will their final win total be this season? Your options are 65, 70, 73. Last week, it was 76. This week, we got 75.
Well, we bumped it down a little bit, but I think what's interesting is OKC, particularly SGA, who's pretty quiet about what I would consider to be controversial commentary on his part, but he's made it public that they want the record. Now, I'm curious, is that a good thing to do, is to tell the world, meaning your competitors, that you want to break the all-time wins record in the regular season? Smart, or is that just poking the bear?
Yeah, I don't know if it's smart or not, but I love the way he said it. He said that winning is important, which
yes,
if you want to win, you want to win. And I think that they have the right things to win. Now, my take only on it is, and that to answer the poll question, I would say 65 is good enough. Like, there's so much pressure on this Thunder team to go back to back. There's not that much pressure on you to now also beat the record of, now you're putting that upon yourself, which internally you might be able to do that. But you saying it out loud, when you came into the year, everybody wants to beat the champions. Everybody wants to beat the champions. Now you saying that we want the record, you've also put another target on your back. It's bulletin board material, like with the Timberwolves that we saw yesterday. Chris Finch absolutely lost his mind in the first 3-4 minutes of the game, and he was rightfully so, right? And I think that because of those things happening, you get everybody's best shot, which they knew they were going to get, and I don't know if that's smart.
I agree with that. And Josh, going to your thoughts on this, that's taking the target you referred to and making it a whole lot bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not putting it on your back; you're putting it right on your forehead, right?
Yeah.
I like
butt and your forehead. I mean, you're really you're getting both sides now, like in terms of attention.
The Thunder's existence, just in general, invites challenge. They're young, they're exciting. Like it's just
they're small market.
They're small market, and they have one of the best players in the NBA, right? Like they're and they also have a gazillion draft picks until 3029, when I'll be nothing but dust, and.
Well, Paul will still be here doing this show.
Paul will still be here. I'll be long
the longevity of running a basketball show, statistics prove that probably is true.
Yeah.
I'm going to outlast both of you. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah. But I like it. When you say you're going for the record, you want to make sure that you get everybody's best. You don't want to be like, yeah, well, we played the Hornets tonight and they only put 78 on us, and because they weren't trying, and we dropped 140 on them. They want to be able to say, well, they only scored 78 tonight, and LaMelo Ball went 6 of 21 from the field because Lou Dort absolutely locked his ass up, and we dropped 140 because they can't guard us. We are solid 1 through 5, or not even 1 through 5. We are solid 1 through 14. And we want our presence to be known that when you play us, you have to give it your best, or else we are going to beat the brakes off of you.
Interesting takes, guys. I'm going to have maybe some comments a little bit later in the show because it's percolating. But I'd like to go to 3 from deep, Josh, if you don't mind, because we've got well, of course, being a homer for the T-Wolves. T-Wolves find a way to win last night. Wasn't an easy victory. The last 2 minutes were really fascinating. So let's go with question number 1 and 3 from deep.
Number 1, the Minnesota Timberwolves handed the Thunder their second loss in 3 games on a back-to-back, with the Thunder battling the injury bug. Is this a blip as they get healthy, or are they coming down to earth?
Well, I'll start. And I think it's nuanced. It's a combination. The Wolves were ready. Anthony Edwards was back. He played well. He didn't play great, but he played well, and he hit a huge 3 down the stretch. It was fantastic. Chris Finch, as you mentioned, and he absolutely lost it. He has such a burn for the Thunder, and he has such a burn for SGA. And I find that to be an interesting aspect in the league, and I wonder sometimes, are there backroom discussions about what are we going to do with SGA and how he plays, because he's taken the Harden-esque ability to draw contact, create contact, oftentimes initiate contact, and even getting away with the raising of the elbow at times and getting the call. And I think that is maddening to people. On the other hand, he's extremely good. He earns 99.9% of his points, I believe, the hard way, the right way, because he's just plain a great player. Consistent, variety. He is to the 2025-2026 season what Steph Curry was to the 2014-2015 season, when everybody said, you mean you can really shoot like that? You can shoot from those distances in that way? And it revolutionized the game. Some of it for the good, some of it not so much, because we've ended up with Huck and Chuck and all of the analytics people that Josh knows I love so much. And but now SGA has demonstrated a versatile, primarily horizontal, and this applies across to Luka and to Nikola Jokic as well. Playing horizontal is actually better than playing vertical. More of a skill set. So, long answer. Are they? When they are healthy, are they going to be on a roll again? Absolutely, they're going to be tough because there's going to be another factor in this, Manib, is that there's going to be a lot of teams tanking this year because the draft is so rich, and so they want to be positioned for the lottery to be able to get one of the great picks this year. But the good teams are going to be they like we were talking before. The target is on the Thunder now, and the good teams are going to bring everything when they have the opportunity to play them.
Yeah, and just to add on to the SGA thing, getting to the foul line and things like that, he drives the ball more than any other player in basketball. Like what, right? Like we also have to keep the same. Like if you want to get to the free throw line, and I tell all of my young players as well, you have to put constant pressure on the basketball, and he does that better than anybody else in basketball right now.
And he does, and he looks for contact, does not shy away from contact.
Doesn't shy away from it. And to going back to yesterday's game, just in particular, I thought the whistle was kind of quick early, and then it went away for a while, and then it didn't come like.
Gee, what a shock in the NBA that the officiating would be inconsistent. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, and I thought late in that game there were some inconsistent calls as well, and I'm like, when are we ever going to get this right? Like, and I just felt like SGA didn't get a lot of the calls late either. He hit a big three to kind of go up, and Lou Dort, I thought there was this one possession he had on Ant that was incredible. Locked him up, and then Ant comes back and hits a big three. So, but for the T-Wolves perspective, it's kind of interesting. We always talk about, is Naz Reid supposed to be the guy, or is it Rudy Gobert, right? And I thought late in that game, they kind of went with Naz, right?
And that'll happen, I think, for the majority of the year, unless there's a matchup that Rudy has an opportunity.
And on the other side, right, we talk about the Thunder and what they're going to be going forward. They didn't play Hartenstein and Chet together that much. Chet, I thought, came in a little bit late with like less than 3 minutes to go in the fourth instead of coming in a little. So are they going to be very, very good going forward? Absolutely, because they have the talent, the team, and the build to be very good. Now, I do think that they are gettable in some places, and I think that the Timberwolves kind of laid and to a large part, the Spurs kind of laid a blueprint.
I think what they did was they burst the bubble.
Yeah.
The infallibility of like, why even bother showing up? There are teams that get on such a roll, and Golden State documented the same sort of start. OKC now, they did infallibility. They're just going to find a way to win. Spurs changed that. Wolves reinforced it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean. And this is what I find, and Josh, I'd be interested on your take on this. This is what I'm going to find interesting as the season continues to evolve. I think, and Ben Golliver points this out, he thinks this is one of the best coached teams in NBA history. And I agree with that.
I agree.
Defense, offense, team, everybody buys in. But now you've got SGA. Every night he's 29 to 37, with exceptions, particularly on the upside of that. But at what point do you need to defer more? Because as the season goes on and as defense is key, more on him to take away his tendencies and try to get one of their other very good players to beat them. Is SGA prepared to be scoring 25 to 30, not 30 to 40? What do you think, Josh?
I think so. One of the best players in the game. He won the MVP for a reason. When you are a superstar in the league, battling for best player in the league, face of the league, what have you, he has that ability to go, yeah, all right, I can take my foot off the gas and, all right, J-Dub, this is your night. The only problem I have with J-Dub is that he's slightly inconsistent, but that's because he always seems to have a nagging injury. But
he's still getting back into the flow of playing.
But they have so many guys that if he's like, yeah, all right, like I can play decoy or whatever on this play. I get the ball, I immediately swing it to Hartenstein in the post, and he kicks it out to AJ Mitchell in the corner, and then it swings all the way around to Lou Dort, who has an open three, which he made a bunch of them last night. When Lou Dort is hot, you shouldn't lose a game.
He missed the one that should have mattered.
He missed the one that should have mattered. But
if he hadn't hit the other ones, the one that should have mattered wouldn't have mattered. So, so that's always the flow of the game, the one shot. So
yeah. So yeah, I think Shea is prepared for that because at the end of the day, he is one of the highest level competitors in the NBA. And when you're a high level competitor, you do what you have to do to win. And this is the way that it goes. There aren't many Kobe Bryants in the league anymore that say, I touch the ball every time down the court. You guys are going to learn what it's like to play with Kobe Bean Bryant.
I also think the reason why SGA is one of my favorite players is because watching him, he's very good off ball as well. It's not just that he's, obviously incredible with the ball in his hands, but, Steph Curry, what makes him so unique is that he's very effective without the ball in his hands. And I think SGA, especially coming off of the year that he just had, is really good off the ball.
You have to be good off the ball to do what he does. To set it up. That is the key to Curry's thriving and survival is his off the ball and Steve Kerr's genius on how he works his stars off the ball when especially when in their heyday when you had the three-headed monster with Durant, Thompson and Steph. What they did off the ball and the actions they did in the mid-range is what freed them up for the great three-point shooting that they had. Let's jump to number 2, Josh.
Yeah, number 2. The New York Knicks. Oh, my goodness.
The Wicks.
The
Wickerbockers.
Yeah.
The
Wicker
Baskets.
The New York Wicker Baskets won the NBA Cup. Oh, my good God. In front of sparse crowds in Las Vegas. I got 2 questions here. Number 1, are the Knicks serious Eastern Conference contenders?
Absolutely. Jalen Brunson is one of my favorite players, and it's going to be. I'm trying to come up with 2 other players, but I've got the obvious first 3 on my all horizontal team. Well, actually 4. SGA, who we just talked about, Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, and Jalen Brunson. They're horizontal skilled players.
Josh, did you notice no Wolves on that list?
Well, hey, you know what? Ant's still sort of a vertical player at this point.
He's a vertical player. He for Ant to be one of the greats or to reach his potential, he is going to have to do what Michael Jordan did, which is become a more diverse player that had a variety of shots closer to the ground rather than relying on athleticism to shoot over people or to go in for one of his spectacular dunks. Plus, it's going to extend his career because that's a whole different show.
Yeah,
talking about injuries. But to answer the question, are they serious Eastern Conference contenders along with the Pistons? Are the Magic going to come on? Whatever. Right now, if I had to pick somebody to go to the NBA Finals from the East, if they're healthy, I would pick the New York Knicks.
Boo.
Well, I can handle that. I can handle that. I'm curious to hear.
Your boos mean nothing. We see what you cheer for.
Yeah.
You remember, you're a guest here. Josh has got the power on that switch right now, and I see his finger right on it.
Pressing the 1s and 2s back here.
Yes,
pal.
absolutely.
The I do think that they're real. I do like the Raptors' chances if we play the Knicks in a series.
I won't boo you. I'll just be aghast.
Listen, I love the Raptors. I am a Raptors fan, but the way they are playing right now, I don't think they can size up. In a 7-game series, they cannot size up against a New York Knicks team.
There's a guy that plays in New York. His name is Karl Anthony Towns. Do we forget about him?
But Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby are such versatile defenders that you can basically knock both Brandon Ingram and or Scotty Barnes or RJ Barrett if RJ Barrett stays on the team. That you're relying on one of your 3-headed monsters plus Grady Dick and Emmanuel Quickley. And as much of a defensive liability as Jalen Brunson can be, he's really not that bad if you put him up against someone like an Emmanuel Quickley. No disrespect to Emmanuel Quickley, but
I just want to reiterate,
not a versatile
Pascal Siakam took all of them. So let's not, I love the Knicks. I think that they've built a very, very good team. And this is their year, right? This is their year for them to win. The Celtics are what they are, obviously without Tatum.
And have exceeded expectations in my mind.
Yes.
They've done very well considering what they lost.
Right? The Bucks are what they are, right?
Which is bad,
yeah. Right? So when you're looking at the Eastern Conference, the Knicks definitely look like the best team. That being said, we have to see them again in the playoffs. And I think that when you watch them play they are, in my eyes, still too heavily reliant on Jalen Brunson scoring 30.
The only problem with that, Manib, I agree, but he does it. The thing
So
about Brunson, he does. Well, I don't think it's effortlessly. I think his effort is I think unparalleled.
Yeah,
his effort, what he does to score, is incredible, and he's demonstrated he can do that in the playoffs. Part 2 of the question, Josh, and then we got to get over to Tori after our break.
Part 2 of the question: should the NBA continue with the cup and move it or scrap it?
Well, they definitely have to move it because that was like people were definitely at the slots, not at the game in Vegas. I think that, to be honest, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. For the most part, I think it's a waste of time. I think it's more annoying. Like, why did the Thunder loss count and the Knicks victory didn't in the final tabulations? Like, they've got such inconsistencies in this thing. Maybe they'll figure it out. It did create some interest. I will give them that. It does create some interest, and the players love it, especially the Knicks. They have a nice $500K check in the account now that they can go Christmas shopping with.
I just one thing to quickly add on the cup. I just think it makes it seem like the NBA is kind of a Mickey Mouse league, right? Like, we have to create this thing for you as fans.
Like, they don't have enough hype.
Yeah,
I totally agree. No, I mean, if it were up to me, I'd scrap the thing. I never would have started it because it is a gimmick.
Yeah,
and this not counting thing is really ridiculous. Last question. We'll do quick answers, then we'll take a break, and Tori Hill from Kings will join us as well.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Scrap it. All right, number 3. Should the NBA expand? And if so, which 2 cities should be awarded teams?
Seattle, absolutely. 100%. Not Las Vegas. So I'm going to do a positive and a negative. I don't know what the other city would be, to be honest, but I know it shouldn't be Vegas. I just don't, I'm not buying on Vegas. Plus, what are the optics? Ben Golliver touches on this too. What are the optics if they go to Vegas with a gambling scandal?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a problem, and it's going to become more of a problem. The NBA has sold its soul to gambling. So, shock of all shocks, people are screwing around with gambling. My God, where did that come from? So to me, it's definitely go to Seattle. Somebody, I really don't have an answer for the second city.
I wouldn't, and just to kind of throw this out there, I don't know if California needs another team, but what about San Diego?
I really don't think California needs another team.
And San Diego's such a weird sport market.
Oh, it's a great sports market, though.
I went to a Clippers game back in when Dr. J played.
That aged you a lot, but yeah.
Well,
he watched Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell play. Like,
that age, that genie's out of the bottle. Everybody knows.
How was Oscar Robertson in person?
Oscar Robertson was great.
Yeah. He played against Plumbers, or
guys, we have to go to break here. Come on, keep it quick.
Okay, quick. All right, so Seattle, we all agree on it. Okay, we're going to take a break. Then, Tori, I'm sorry we've taken so long. So we'll be bringing in the head coach of the year, Tori Hill, to talk about the upcoming benefit for the fight against cancer after these messages here on your Sports Leader Sports 1440.
Saturday mornings live on Sports 1440. Powered by Subaru. Built for real-life confidence. Visit Subaru.ca.
The wrapping paper is coming off. The gift box is opening, and the crowd goes wild.
When they want sports in their stocking, you'll find gifts that score big at St. Albert's Source for Sports. Jerseys and accessories, baseball, bikes, all kinds of skates, and everything on it. It's all here, alongside expert advice from pros who know sports. Put the best sports brands under the tree for less with St. Albert's Source for Sports, your source for hockey and the best sports gifts for over 35 years.
This holiday season, unlock a world of free entertainment with Stingray. Stream festive music hits, relaxing wellness channels, and stunning holiday escapes. Just search for Stingray on your smart TV to discover your new favorite channel.
Hard to believe it's already that time of year again. Time to get your festive aluminum pole at Metal Supermarkets, where the staff will be completing feats of strength to get your metal ready without any grievances. When your project needs a festive miracle, Metal Supermarkets offers in-house bending, often by the next day. Plus, metal cut to your exact specifications, fast. The convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
I'm Gene Principe, bringing season's heatings from Legacy Heating and Cooling. For Yuletide comfort you'll love this Christmas. You should call Legacy. Call Legacy. There's no better way to fix your furnace. You just call Legacy. They're professional, never rude, Dolph. You should call Legacy. Call Legacy. Plus, no interest and no principal payments for 1 year when you buy with Legacy Heating and Cooling.
When you hit the ice, it's all about you and your skates. The stride, the feel, the glide, the power, the performance. Why trust your skates to a grinding machine, or even worse, a tournament parent in a parking lot? At Aligned Custom Skate Performance in Sherwood Park, the art of skate fitting and sharpening is customized to the athlete.
Aligned Custom Skate Performance, where precision meets passion. Oh.
Visit AlignedSkate.com to learn more.
A little ice and snow can't stop your Canadian spirit, especially when you start at the Lawnmower Hospital. Come find a wide selection of top-performing snowblowers, sweepers, and backpack blowers from the best names in snow removal, like Toro, Ariens, Echo, and BCS. Don't forget to pick up pet-safe, plant-safe ice melt, along with Aspen Fuel to keep you clearing. The Lawnmower Hospital. Visit lawnmowerhost.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
You can't get smoother than Dean Martin at Christmas time. He just croons everything, and that song hasn't been banned, so that's great. That's just great. You know about the song that was banned, right? So anyway, I digress. Tori Hill, I have to apologize to you. Tori, welcome to the program. We got carried away with our conversation in the early stages. I've been so excited to be able to talk to you today. How are you, Coach?
I'm doing good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you. Now, first of all, congratulations on what you have accomplished and are accomplishing with King's University. You have done a marvelous job. As I mentioned in my opening remarks, you're the reigning coach of the year in the ACAC. But I think the people who are not familiar with King's University realize, as a small university with very specific and high academic standards, your recruiting really narrows down in terms of what kids can even get into your school. So you have done and continue to do the fantastic job that you're doing, building on the foundation of the man that we're going to talk about in just a moment.
I appreciate that.
So, Tori, talk about what's going to happen after the new year in honor of Brian Anstice.
Yeah, of course. So we're super excited this year to have, it's going to be the first tournament, and we hope to have many more in the future. and we're hoping to have many teams. On January 2nd and 3rd, we're going to host the first tournament in honor of Coach Brian for what he's done for the basketball community and specifically at Kings. So right now we have ACAC teams from both men's and women's sides. We have SAIT coming out, Nate, St. Mary's, and then also ourselves are in it. And we're just super excited to bring basketball to Edmonton, but also for a good cause. Because in this time, I think we're using basketball, and it's bigger than basketball. So this one's for Coach Brian, and we're so excited for the weekend and be honoring him there.
Well, for people and anybody that's involved in the basketball community knows who Brian Anstice is.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Brian for a long, long time, and I remember you have those specific moments in your life where it just becomes indelibly etched in your memory. And I remember there was a ceremony out in Sherwood Park and a walk for cancer research. Brian's good friend Lanny White had passed away.
Yeah.
And Brian had just been diagnosed with the same rare form of cancer that Lanny had. And I remember Brian getting up in front of everybody. And I don't know if you were at this, Tori, but he got up in front of everybody and said, you know what? I feel sorry for cancer because I'm going to kick its butt. And he just his positive energy in everything that he did. And you certainly experienced that in coaching with him. Talk about just that indomitable spirit that Brian Anstice had.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I wasn't at that, but I will tell you this. The one thing that we at Kings always remember him for, and even my assistants, we always repeat this, is he would give you the shirt off his back no matter what. And just to see him fighting cancer and having those good days, but also those really bad days. I remember being beside him on some really bad days when we were in that coaching room. And he would, no matter what, put that aside for the team, for even myself as an assistant coach, for the girls. Like he never worried about himself and always just said he was gonna, as he put it, kick cancer's butt, but he put another word in there. But he was the most positive person that you could have, and to see him fight, and he fought right to the end, that just it makes you just so happy to know him for that. And I can go through so many memories about him, but it was just the positivity of him and knowing that he would do anything for you. That's what brought the community together, and he always made sure of that.
I'm talking to Tori Hill, the head coach of the women's basketball team at the Kings University here in Edmonton on Sports 1440 on Hoop City with Paul Sir. Tori, talk about the matchups in this very exciting event, and then we're going to go into how people can attend and how they can give. But first of all, talk about the matchups.
Yeah, so we have some really good teams coming out. So like I mentioned, on the first day, Nate will be playing St. Mary's, and then we ourselves will be playing SAIT, and that's both for men's and women's. And then on the second day, we switch our matchup so that Nate plays we play St. Mary's and Nate plays SAIT. And it's going to be basketball on both ends, men's and women's. It's going to be competitive. We're all high caliber teams. It's college basketball, and it's going to be a fun time for a great cause. So we're super excited to have these teams come out and participate in our first ever annual tournament. But we're hoping next year we get more. But the teams this year we're super excited to have.
Well, and anybody that's attended a game at Kings University knows that the atmosphere in your gym, it's a relatively small gym, but it is a raucous, fun atmosphere. You guys really have it going at Kings University with the teams that you have. So talk about how people can attend, where they can buy tickets, and where they can give to this very, very worthwhile cause.
Yeah, of course. So on January 2nd and 3rd, we will be charging at the door. The kind of baseline charges will have a game day for $10 and then a weekend pass for $15, I think it was. And all the donations from the door are going directly to Coach Brian's foundation, which is the toast of the town. And then also we'll have a bunch of posters hanging up, QR codes. that you can scan. But if you follow our social media, like TKU Women's Basketball or the men's basketball page, we have our social media up and everything noted of how to donate. But all the money we raise during that tournament is going directly to his foundation. Is not coming towards our school. It's not going to anything else. It goes directly to him. So all the door, if you donate extra, that will go directly towards the foundation.
That is wonderful. Again, give me your social media information so people can participate in supporting this great cause.
Yeah, so our Instagram page is TKU Eagles WBB, and we post everything on there, and we'll keep posting right up to that date. We'll even link a direct link to the donation page. But yeah, if you follow that page, we'll go directly to his foundation there.
Fantastic. Tori, thank you for putting this together. I know you and Jay and the athletics department over at Kings have the utmost respect and want to support Brian's lifelong efforts in every way possible. This is demonstrative of that. Best of luck with that. And in the meanwhile, Tori, thank you so much for being with us today, and happy holidays to you.
Thank you, and same to you.
Tori Hill, reigning Coach of the Year at Kings University with the women's basketball program for the upcoming Brian Anstice Memorial Cancer Fundraiser, January 2nd and 3rd, I believe, over at Kings University. Tori shared her social media, but you can Google Kings University women's basketball and find out how to donate as well. We're going to take another break right now, and when we come back, we're going to bring our friend Ryan Wolstad from the Toronto Sun in, and we're going to talk Toronto Raptors.
Saturday mornings live on Sports 1440. Powered by Subaru. Safety, reliability, and uncommon value. Visit Subaru.ca.
Our 50% off Christmas sale is back at Coleman's Greenhouse. Anita here, and right now, all Christmas-themed gifts and ornaments are half price. Plus, stock up on yummy jams and our own pickled carrots, beets, and sauerkraut. Our Christmas shelves are also filled with delicious German cookies, Stollen, and gingerbread treats. So bring the whole family. Visit our turtle and koi ponds while you're here and enjoy. We're open 6 days a week. Take exit 49 off the Henday.
Just Google KUHLMANNS.
Life is delicious when you shop El Safadi Brothers Mediterranean Supermarket. Hurry in for this week's specials.
Mediterranean dates, a wide variety to choose from, now only $9.99 per kilo.
Willie and Anwar, thank you for supporting El Safadi Brothers Mediterranean Supermarket. 2 locations to serve you.
The crowd roaring and goal sirens keep you going, but it doesn't always keep you winning. The season is in full swing. The battles are tough. The hits are unflinching. And your gear is feeling it. Don't let worn-down equipment hold you back in the third period. St. Albert Source for Sports is here to make sure your gear is always ready to play as hard as you do. Keep your edge with the experts at St. Albert Source for Sports. Our Pro Sharp approved technicians will get your skates back to game-winning condition. Busted a blade or cracked a stick? From expert skate repairs to the latest gear, St. Albert Source for Sports has what it takes to keep you in the game and playing your best. From the first face-off to the final showdown. Stay strong all season long and keep your head in the game, not on your gear. Visit St. Albert Source for Sports today. St. Albert Source for Sports, your source for hockey, bikes, baseball, and more for over 36 years.
This is Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
This is a local backstory, a showcase of businesses we're proud to call our friends. Here's Dieter from Coleman's Greenhouse.
Well, at that time, this is back in 1962, there was a lot of immigration from Europe, and Europeans, they love vegetables. So we started out growing a lot of potatoes, but we started growing some pickling cucumbers and a few other vegetables. And we found that people actually came out and wanted to go out to our fields and pick their own. And that's what we kind of started to specialize in. We grew a whole bunch of different vegetables, the ones that everybody really loves: potatoes, carrots, beets, onions. Gave us, I think, the first traction as being a successful kind of an operation. And then, of course, we started going to the farmers markets, and that's a whole other story.
Google Kuhlman's today. That's KUHLMANNS.
There's a voice. If there was a voice that I could say kind of was like the direct link to heaven, right to the angels, it would be Whitney Houston. Unbelievable, unbelievable voice. Like just such a beautiful rendition of that Christmas Carol.
You're a little bit older than us, me and Josh.
Well, no, I'm older than both of you combined.
Well,
You could add a third in pretty easily,
Yeah.
so that's fine.
I think our voice would be Mariah Carey potentially this time of year. But Whitney Houston, close second, I think, is
Yeah.
what Josh and I would say. Right, Josh?
Yeah, I'd probably rock with Mariah Carey, but that's because her song gets played on the radio every damn day.
That's why I didn't use it because that
fair
is
enough.
just beaten to death.
It's going to
And
be
so,
getting a lot of play this week during the
Yeah.
regular shows of 1440.
do you guys remember a band in the 90s, Collective Soul?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Collective Soul had this fantastic album. I bought a new car, and it was a minivan because I had young sons, and so we're driving to a tournament over in Saskatoon, and I played that CD probably 8 times on the drive there. And to this day, my wife and kids, if they hear Collective Soul, it like causes, a Pavlov's dog reaction. They just are diving for the whatever radio. I mean, I think if they were in a department store and they heard a Collective Soul song, they would throw something at the speaker. I ruined it for them completely. That's Mariah Carey's Christmas music to me.
Fair enough. Hey, I get it. We sort of had this conversation yesterday, me and a buddy, but I was talking about All I Want for Christmas Is You. I was like, it's been so like overhated basically the last like 2-3 years that I think at this point it's now underrated.
Underrated.
I'm like, hey, you know what? This is a good song. Like, this is sort of bopping.
What wasn't that the song in Love Actually?
Yes.
With the little boy at the drum at the end. with
Oh
the-
yeah,
that was-
absolutely
yeah.
nails.
Oh yeah,
Nails.
Absolutely,
Love it.
absolutely. Okay, well, I mean, it's a beautiful song.
It
Nothing
is.
against Mariah Carey.
It's
and,
the last original Christmas song.
Yeah, that's true. Wham had the what was the George Michael song?
Last Christmas.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart. Yeah, okay.
Christmas.
Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
I
I'd love
gave
to.
you my heart.
Not bad.
But the very next day, no, I might have done musical theater once or twice.
That was beautiful, honestly.
Absolutely.
That might be our new, actually.
No, absolutely not.
We're just going to go
music.
a cappella
Yeah,
on
absolutely
the
not.
show and skip the music.
They
So-
had me singing the song from Love Actually, the like that line or that storyline of Bill Nighy, and he rewrites his song to be a Christmas song, and it charts #1.
Yep.
I just happened to watch Love Actually the night before, and they're like, "What was that song, Josh?" And I was like, "Oh God!" And so they had me start singing it on air to remind them. I have since forgotten the words now that I have Fairy Tale of New York stuck in my head the last 3 days.
I did musical theater in high school too. I had 3 starring roles in my teeny tiny Catholic school in 3 different musicals.
Can we get a
No.
little bit of a taste?
No,
What
these
were
are
your
these are
roles?
obscure. I was this is tremendous. A Broadway play long time ago called The Education of Hyman Kaplan.
Okay.
And I was Yisel Fishbane, a very misogynistic, patriarchal figure, and I had a solo with a dance in grade 10.
Nice.
So yeah, it was tremendous.
We know who that is, right, Josh?
I have no idea what that is.
You would not know any of the musicals we did. So, but I would say this fairly would be We Digress.
Do you remember any of the words?
Oh, I know the whole song. I could even do the dance now, but you don't want to do it. We're not going there.
I thought we were about to.
No, we're not going there.
All right, where should the NBA expand for a second city? We said Seattle already.
Yeah, Seattle's a given because of the heartless way that the OKC Thunder blew town, and Seattle absolutely deserves it. But let me ask you this, guys: what about Vancouver?
Yeah,
I say no personally.
I don't think they deserve a second shot.
Why?
They didn't show up, and honestly,
you can only blame management so long in Vancouver, and it was brutal. They drafted Big Country, for God's sakes. And for those who don't know who Big Country Reeves was,
Brad Miller.
One of many, but one of the great, terrible draft picks of all time in terms of a foundational piece.
But here's what, the one thing I would argue is that it was premature. Canada's basketball program, obviously what Paul has done in just Alberta, but everything that's happened in Canada to grow basketball, the success of the Raptors, what Steve Nash has done with Canada basketball and everything. I think now might be a little the game has grown so much that I think that now would be a time.
Definitely. You can make a strong case for it. And that's fair. What about Montreal? Now, to me, they don't deserve it, but that's just me. And I know they get a favorable status for getting exhibition games. I completely get that. But if the NBA were to expand in Canada, my vote would be for Vancouver. Definitely. I think the East-West dynamic would be very, very positive.
I think that makes a lot of sense to me, specifically of just it is the second biggest sports market in Canada. But my main issue with teams in Canada, Toronto is very different from the rest of Canada. I've been to Toronto a couple times, and it's so Americanized that people in Toronto, they love the Leafs. Oh God, do they ever love the Leafs? Holy hell. But they love the Jays, they love the Raptors, they love the Bills. There's so many Bills fans in Toronto. But that's
a great sports city.
Yeah, you can see Orchard Park from Niagara Falls.
Yeah, you're they're right in the thick of it because they're so close and they're such a big metro. They tried in Vancouver once, and Canada is so hockey centralized. I want to see another Canadian team. I do really, really bad, but there's just this there's this thought in the back of my brain that's all right, well, they're going to go to Vancouver, they're going to play there for 7 seasons, and then they're going to go, well, this isn't working, and then they move to
Mexico City.
Yeah, but
Albuquerque.
Let's throw a scenario in. Of moving New Orleans to Vancouver. You're taking an existing franchise that's underwater, probably doesn't have the capacity to survive.
No, they have Zion Williamson, I thought.
Yeah, but Zion Williamson, what a train wreck.
Derek Queen needs to play one more game this season, and he'll have played more games in his rookie season than Zion has played in 5 of his 7 pro seasons.
Zion Williamson is, to me, he's kind of everything wrong with basketball. Super talented, doesn't take his body seriously. And with that kind of body, if there's anybody that has to take it ultra seriously and be ultra disciplined, and it's easy to take shots at the guy, but he's a fabulously rich player now without having proven anything. And that's actually kind of I think the moniker that goes along with the NBA. Everything's fully guaranteed. You really don't have to worry about results once you get the ink on the contract. And somebody like Zion, he's emblematic, I think, along with Kawhi, I think, of the 2 players that are the poster players of the modern NBA injury plague. Would you agree with that?
Jojo, I could add.
Yeah?
Yeah. Paul, tell us how you really feel. I did not think that was
once in a while.
Josh, did you expect that?
Yes.
Yeah, Josh is getting used to. Once in a while, I pull the plug. I don't mince word at all. Say, Josh, Ryan is available. He had his phone on silent.
Oh, perfect.
Should we give him a shot? We'll get a few minutes in. About
Yeah,
the
we'll
Raptors.
get a few minutes in.
Yeah, because we have
on
been.
him. Text me his number, and I'll ring him up.
Okay. Let me get that here. I'm going to actually give this over here. There we go.
All right.
But I think one of the things I don't like hot takes, but once in a while, I think if there's something that is black and white, I think you should just say it in a black and white fashion. Like I watched Zion Williamson, and I find it annoying to have a guy who's so conditional, seemingly, about his effort, about taking himself seriously. And a guy that I relate him to is Charles Barkley.
Yep.
And Charles Barkley has told the story many times about how Moses Malone, when Barkley came to Philadelphia, Barkley was like 290. And Moses Malone said, he came into the gym and he said, "Rookie, you are not going to survive in this league. You don't care." And he goes, "I really don't want to play with you if you don't care. But if you do care, I'll get in the gym with you." And Moses Malone worked with Barkley night after night, week after week, month after month, until Barkley got down to his ideal weight, which is around 250 to 260, round mound to rebound. Malone was instrumental in that mentorship by not mincing words.
So are we saying that the institution as the New Orleans Pelicans not having the right vets around Zion when he got drafted, him instantly being handed the keys to a city, franchise, and organization, and not having the right coaching and staff in place to actually help? Like, do you think it's that as well as him?
All of the above, because of the pandering towards athletes, about making sure that they feel warm and fuzzy, as opposed to taking their career and their responsibility to the franchise as it paying them with all those zeros at the end of your check that you receive. Not taking that seriously is one of the most egregious parts of professional sports. And I think it's somewhat special in basketball. I think basketball has created monsters. Do we have Ryan?
Just 1 second. He's joining the stream, but we're just having an issue with the camera. He'll be right on.
Okay. Cool. All right. Ryan's worth the wait. He's great. So
I can't wait. Raptors. You know, I'm a huge Raptors fan.
Yeah. I mean, gee, that's a shock. I would have had no idea. Oh yeah, the Raptors are going to win the East.
Yeah, they're going to win the East.
They're number one.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be 2019 all over again.
Drive around town, you see him, and even his car with the finger Raptor shaking that. Go Raps. So, but I think to give the Raptors their due, they have exceeded expectations this year. And they're a fun team to watch overall.
And guess what, Paul?
I'm all ears.
We're gonna be even more fun with Anthony Davis. Guess what? We're gonna get the brow.
You're gonna get at least 10 games out of him. So I think that will be great. It'll be the best 10 games. He might get to double figures. How are we doing there, Josh? Are we ready to go?
He's gonna give us more than double figures.
All right. Josh has just about got this going. So little disheveled here. Thank you for bearing with us, but I've enjoyed the conversation. I sure as heck hope you did. That's what's important. So we're going to be joined by Ryan Woolstat. Ryan is the longtime Raptors writer for the Toronto Sun, and we've been looking forward to getting Ryan on the phone. Ryan, I know you've been under the weather a bit. Thanks so much for carving out some time today to join us.
Yeah, no worries. Sorry for the delay. Just a few things going on, but glad to make it.
When you're in the center of the universe, there's a lot going on, Ryan. So it's understandable. So Ryan, Toronto Raptors. I'm going to start out with kind of an odd question, obtuse. Let's go with Steve Martin's obtuse question. It's that you've got a good. I think it's safe to say the Raptors have somewhat exceeded expectations at the beginning of the year. RJ Barrett goes out with an injury. Jakob Poeltl, he's having his struggles as well. You hear all of the rumblings about the possibilities that the Raptors are trying to make deals to move both of them. I'm asking you, with your experience, expertise, knowledge of the team, is it better for the Raptors to stay the course and see where this blend of players can take them, given that they have had a successful start when they're healthy? Or is Bobby Webster and his management team wise to be looking for ways to make deals to hopefully improve the roster and address some of the deficiencies that they've identified?
To me, I think that they should be looking for, some tweaks here and there, because I've been harping on it all year in print and online, whatever. Like, it doesn't make sense to have one player taller than 6'9" on an NBA roster. It doesn't make sense to have like 42 shooting guards on a roster. Like, you need some sort of balance. Like, we used to talk about this here when they were all 6'9", the whole team. It didn't make sense then either. And it
one extreme to the other is what you're saying.
Yeah. It's like you need some balance. It's the NBA. Maybe you don't need 3 7-footers anymore like the old days when Shaq was around, stuff like that, and when there was a million good centers in the 90s. But you still need someone to take some wear and tear off Jakob Poeltl, and that would be even if his back was 100%, which it clearly isn't. Like Scotty Barnes he's done a great job. He's even guarded Nikola Jokic in the past, guys like that, Joel Embiid. But do you really want to beat him up doing that when he's doing so well? Like, do you want Colin Murray-Boyles? Like, he's a big guy for a rookie, and he definitely doesn't look out of place defensively, but he's pretty undersized, like height-wise for sure, playing center. Like, do you really want all the guys playing out of positions? Sandro Mamukelashvili he's a power forward. That's his best position. He'll even tell you that himself. Like, you don't need a guy that's going to play 30 minutes at center unless, of course, Poeltl's back totally breaks, but you do need someone who's going to be able to play some situational minutes and just go against some of the behemoths, help them on the boards where they've really struggled, and just give the roster like a bit more balance. And I think they will do something like that. Like, Bobby Webster said, they're not going to stand pat. They're less than $1 million over the luxury tax. Like, MLSE has only paid it twice ever. They're not going to do it a third time now, like for this team, nor should they. So there will be something. It's just a question of what.
So why is it, in your opinion, Ryan, so hard to find not great, decent bigs now in the basketball world? Because it really has become a needle in the haystack. Is it because of the all-in positionless mentality that so many coaches, so many teams have taken? Or is there just has the NBA gone away from the big? Now they're just struggling to fill the pipeline with good big players to fill those roster spots. And like you said, you don't need somebody that can play 30 minutes, but you do need somebody like Valanciunas in Denver that can play 10 to 20 on given nights.
For sure. Yeah, like it's like what you said. Like, a lot of teams are just looking for that guy, like the 5 out. So if you can't shoot threes, you're useless to me, and that sort of thing. And they're just not looking for a 7-footer who can't do that. But like, if you would expand your horizons a little bit, they're still very, very useful. Like, a rebound is still how you end a defensive possession. It's still very important. You don't have to be 7 foot to get a rebound, but it sure helps. You still need to guard the rim. You need to have guys that can guard the rim. And I just think, they're kind of out of favor. They want guys that can really move their feet and do all that. But there are still guys out there that can do it at least passably enough while still giving you what you want. Like, I mentioned some in a recent article, like even a Paul Reed shoots a few threes. I mean, he's only 6'9", but he jumps out of the gym, and he's really good defensively. He's a guy that could help. Nick Richards won't shoot a 3, but he'll get you some rebounds. There's other guys, Daron Sharp. There's if it'd be a little harder to get a really good shot blocker like a Daniel Gafford, but I mean, there's, everyone's talked about, there's these guys that are out there. It's possible. I think they still exist, but yeah, like I said, they're a little out of favor. Like, everyone's looking for maybe faster players, 3-point shooters, that sort of thing.
Yeah, Ryan, this is Manib. I just had a quick question for you. When are the Raptors getting Anthony Davis?
I mean, to me, I wouldn't do that. Like, I don't know. I've always had a hard time.
I wouldn't want to watch him for 2 games, Ryan. You know?
Exactly. That's the point. Like, I love the guy. I mean, I actually covered back in the day his Final Four when he finally got Kentucky their first championship since I think Jamal McGlure helped them get one. And like, he's an awesome player. He's a ridiculously good guy, like amazing talent. But the issue is he just doesn't play. And I had a lot of concerns about getting Brandon Ingram, not because I didn't think Ingram was a really good player, but just because he's had so much trouble staying on the floor. And lo and behold, Ingram leads the NBA in minutes, and he's been the picture of health. But there's zero evidence that Anthony Davis could do the same. And I just, at his price tag, and would he be happy here? Like, I don't know. He's about to get a lot of money. He doesn't even like playing center. Like I said, he's an awesome player, but there's just way too many things that concern me about him.
Other than
But
that,
you never
it'd
know.
be a perfect
they
fit.
like taking a big swing. Though.
Yeah, well,
So you never know.
but there's big swings and there's big bad swings that that are just destined to not work out, and for people to go, yeah, we swung for the fence, but boy, did that fall flat. I think too, Ryan, I think you hit on the key element. The NBA once again, and a lot of NBA guys talk about this, is that as soon as one team has great success, everybody runs for that exit and tries to duplicate that. And one of the, I think, positive developments in the NBA right now, and we talk about that a lot on the show, is SGA has made the mid-range game popular again. It has taken the power out of the three and layup mindset that people have. I think if you locked Jakob in a gym, he'd have a hard time hitting 10 threes in an hour. Like he just is not a three-point shooter.
You're right.
But he's amazingly effective when he's healthy because he sets great screens. He rolls really well. He has those big soft hands where he's able to catch and finish at the rim. And that's what frees up a lot of the three-point shooters, is if he's consistently hurting people off the pick and roll, you'll find your shooters. So I believe that I would rather get a serviceable big that does the things that you described, such as protects the rim, can set good screens, can rebound. You can't teach size. A 7-footer with decent hands can be an effective rebounder, but it is a gap in the Raptors, and they do have a bunch of shooters, but those shooters, they're pretty inconsistent, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and that's the problem. They were really hoping that some, like, they were limited to shoot with shooters to start with. They didn't have a lot of good ones. They had a few, and then they were hoping that Ochai Agbaji could repeat last year, his first good season in the NBA. Basically, like he struggled the rest of the time. He was good in college, but he hadn't shown it, and he's come on a bit lately, but most of the year he hasn't shown much. Jacoby Walter and Grady Dick have both had kind of fits and starts, and neither one of them has taken the ball and run with it, so to speak, especially with RJ Barrett. You would have thought that was a golden opportunity, and it just hasn't happened. But they're still getting minutes over a guy like Jamison Battle, who might be the best shooter on the whole team. He's limited in his game, but he can really shoot it. And then they still have AJ Lawson, the Canadian, who's just killing it in the G League. And every time they call him up, it seems like he gets 15 points in 15 minutes. So, they're looking for more, and they've got a lot at shooting guard, which is why I say you got to use some of that depth. And, you need to find someone who needs to want one of these guys. But I'm sure like Grady Dick and Jacoby Walter in particular would have some sort of a market.
You would really think so. So, final question for you, Ryan. Would you make a deal? And there's two parts to it. Would you make a deal for RJ? And my second part of the question is, why are they trying to make a deal for RJ? Is it just finances? Is that literally the bottom line here?
I think for a while it was. I think this stretch has really helped them realize that, maybe this guy's a little more valuable than we thought. And I do think maybe Bobby Webster's a little higher on him than Masai Ujiri was, and that helps RJ. I would keep the guy around. Not only is he a really effective player that the offense has really missed just because of the pressure he puts going downhill, getting to the rim. He's a pretty good catch and shoot 3-point shooter. He's not always the most consistent player. He's not the best defender, but he's worked a lot harder there. He understands Darko's system. He only has a year left on his deal, and you can go, I don't see the urgency to trade him now. And also, he's a Canadian. He loves playing for Raptors. It's his hometown team. He really represents the franchise well. He's a key player on the Canadian national team. I just think for all those reasons, it would be maybe a bit of a mistake to move him, especially when you have all these other candidates. Like Agbaji doesn't seem like he's part of the future plans. He's going to be a free agent. Why not? The things I've been proposing, there's got to be a way to move an Agbaji and maybe like a Mobo or something like that, and get a center you could use, and also duck under the luxury tax. And I'm sure that's what they'll be looking to do. But I don't know. I don't get any sense that there's anything doing with RJ, and I don't think there should be.
Actually, that's really good news to me, because I'm with you on that. I think he was playing, I thought, his best basketball when he was when the Raptors really, in particular, were getting on a roll. So to keep RJ in the mix, I think is really important. He's not what you would call the face of the franchise, but he's an integral part of it for all the reasons that you just described. Ryan, I'm glad we were able to finally connect. Thank you for hanging in there with us. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and we'll look forward to talking more Raptors and NBA in 2026.
For sure. Same to you guys. Thanks for having me.
Go Raps.
Ryan Wallstedt, what a great guy. God, he's a great writer. If you ever get a chance, is one great writer leading into another great writer. Ryan Wallstedt with the Toronto Sun. And now we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we have one of the preeminent NBA writers, beat writers, joining us once again. Ben Golliver is a regular on our program. We're really lucky to have him. So come back with us on this holiday edition of Hoop City with Paul Sir here on your sports leader, Sports 1440.
Every lunchtime, hang with Low Tide. Weekdays from noon to 2 on Sports 1440. Low Tide and Declan Kruger gives you the deep dives, sharp analysis, and Edmonton sports talk done right. Your game, your station, Sports 1440. Saturday mornings live on Sports 1440. Powered by Subaru. The perfect choice for Alberta's challenging weather and road conditions. Visit Subaru.ca.
This holiday season, bring the party home with the one and only Singing Machine Wi-Fi machine. With 2 microphones included and more than 20 voice effects, the fun can begin. Find it online at singingmachine.com.
When you hit the ice, it's all about you and your skates. The stride, the feel, the glide, the power, the performance. Why trust your skates to a grinding machine, or even worse, a tournament parent in a parking lot? At Aligned Custom Skate Performance in Sherwood Park, the art of skate fitting and sharpening is customized to the athlete.
Align Custom Skate Performance, where precision meets passion. Oh.
Visit AlignedSkate.com to learn more.
A little ice and snow can't stop your Canadian spirit, especially when you start at the Lawnmower Hospital. Come find a wide selection of top-performing snowblower sweepers and backpack blowers from the best names in snow removal, like Toro, Ariens, Echo, and BCS. Don't forget to pick up pet-safe, plant-safe ice melt, along with Aspen Fuel to keep you clearing. The Lawnmower Hospital. Visit lawnmowerhospital.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
Jason Greger isn't just a sports guy. He's a community builder. With over $2 million raised for local charities and his Greger Foundation, he's making a difference on and off the air. Check out Greger weekday afternoons on Sports 1440. Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free Radio Player app and listen wherever you go.
This is Hoop City with Paul Sir on Sports 1440.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry. We did it.
Here's your host, Paul Sir.
The reason I selected this version of White Christmas is by a band from the 40s and 50s called the Mills Brothers. And if my wife and I are old, Turner Classic Movie aficionados, and we love old black and whites, and a lot of the Christmas music that really defines Christmas today was generated in the late 30s, but particularly the 1940s and early 50s. Those are the traditional Christmas songs that you hear today. And Bing Crosby is the purveyor of White Christmas. It's I think, still the biggest selling album of all time. Number one song of all time is White Christmas by Bing Crosby. But the Mills Brothers, literally three guys, and their harmonies are unreal. And so wanted to pay a little heed to the Mills Brothers here on our Christmas special today. We have a special guest right now. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to spend time with Ben Golliver from the Washington Post. Ben was just in Las Vegas in the New York Knicks locker room after the game. The picture we sent out on social media is Ben with the NBA Cup. Ben is just totally immersed in the NBA. And whenever we have Ben on, you are getting it right from the source. The guy standing at the sideline, talking to all the best players, talking to the owners, the managers, best of the best in Ben Golliver. So we're going to have 2 segments right now from our conversation from yesterday. And I would encourage you to listen to the entire interview, because Ben is very generous with his time, and the entire interview will be on our podcast of the Deep Dive after the show is over, and Josh, of course, posts it for us. So here's my conversation with Ben Golliver. Welcome to the Deep Dive on the Hoop City with Paul Sir weekly show, and I'm really pleased to welcome back into our discussion Ben Golliver from the Washington Post. Ben, you just got back from Sin City. Talk about the experience of the NBA Cup. I mean, there's lots to discuss, sort of lots to unpack around the Cup, its validity, etc. But talk about the product on the floor itself.
Oh, it's a quirky event, right? I mean, it's kind of at a weird time in the NBA calendar. People are really thinking about, football down here in November and December. But if you look at the games were really good. The Knicks put on a show, beating the Orlando Magic in the semifinals. We got maybe the game of the year between the Spurs and the Thunder, a big upset, only Oklahoma City's second loss of the entire season, and Victor Wembanyama playing a great game in the other semifinal. And then the final was a really competitive game that I thought had a lot of layers to it. It kind of swung on offensive rebounding for Mitchell Robinson, the size and length of Mitchell Robinson holding Wembanyama in check. And, honestly, it was a great scene afterwards, too. One of my favorite moments was Spike Lee, the famous director and huge Knicks fan. He actually got down low with his cell phone camera. He was having the directorial impulses kick in. He wanted to get just the right angle to capture the trophy celebration, where Adam Silver's given Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson the first trophy the Knicks have won in more than 50 years, right? So it's quirky. Nobody really knows how to celebrate. The guys were just kind of quietly drinking beers, not really popping champagne in the locker room. But certainly I thought it was, one of the better cups that we've had so far. There's only been 3. And, it maybe made up for some so-so crowds in Vegas. It's not the craziest basketball plays. Like I said, it's a weird time of year, but we certainly got great basketball and a fun scene, even if the crowds weren't, electric.
They did a good job of masking it on the broadcast. You really didn't get the sense that it was as poorly, and I think that's a fair word, disappointingly attended as I think the NBA would have liked it to be. But you hit it right on the head, Ben, in terms of quality of play on the court. Very, very good. Very compelling. Now, a question I have regarding the San Antonio Spurs is, did they discover anything in their victory over the Thunder? Now, I feel a little prophetic. I'm going to toot my own horn here. Last weekend on our show, I made a special point of talking about the potential of this San Antonio Spur outfit without Wembanyama, the success they've had. But this is a very talented group, and it somewhat reminds me in many respects of OKC. So I kind of rambled a bit on you there, but let's go back to the original point. Did they unpack anything that other teams can learn from in terms of how they play the Thunder?
Well, I think all season long we've asked, who actually poses matchup problems for the Thunder, right? Because it feels like they dictate style, they dictate pace, they speed you up, they make you uncomfortable with their defense, and then they have the best closer in the NBA with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So you're looking around saying, this is pretty challenging to come up with, who's going to knock these guys off. Typically, we always come back to Joker and say, he's the biggest, best player in the league, so he's going to give you some problems. But I think we saw that Wembanyama can really give them some problems too. The reason why I say that is the defensive impact. He just completely took away the paint. The Thunder did not want to challenge him when he was on the court. And so much about Oklahoma City's offense is drive and kick, or it's Shai getting to his spots inside the arc. And you kind of saw all that stuff dry up. They didn't get to the free throw line a ton, especially Shai. Jalen Williams had a really tough time finishing, and he likes to go to the basket a lot. And it puts all the pressure on Oklahoma City's three-point shooters. And if they have one weakness as a team, it's just the spotty three-point shooting from the complementary guys. In an ideal world, you want to force their other guys to beat you. You do not want the ball in Shai's hands. And what the Spurs showed is we can defend Shai without having to commit 2 and 3 defenders, because we could just take away his best spots, going towards the hoop. Now, I know the Thunder are going to be making adjustments. I mean, there's no question they're going to be able to kind of figure something like this out. But what it does do is kind of set up, I think, an interesting rivalry going forward where the Spurs aren't quite ready yet, but they're definitely ahead of schedule. And they have a player who has the potential to be the best player on the court in a playoff series against Oklahoma City. And there are very, very few teams around the league that can say that.
That was my point last weekend, is they have the generational player and the generational nightmare of a matchup. Like, what do you do with 7'5" with the skill set that this young man possesses? Like, it really is ludicrous when you see him handling the ball, coming down the court and pulling up from 5 feet outside the 3-point line and not knocking down one, knocking down 2 or 3 consecutively. Like, he really is a marvelous, marvelous talent. And let's just all hope he is healthy for the rest of the year. Now, the other day on PTI, pardon the interruption, Kornheiser and Wilbon were talking about, should the Spurs try to make a move to pick up Giannis? And Tony, no. Michael, yes. I would fall in the definite no camp, because the notion that you can win right now, that is alluring. But I mean, they have done exactly what OKC has done. They have drafted intelligently. They are building systematically. They've been extremely patient with all their success in the past. They've had a rough go the last few years, but they've been patient, stuck with their plan, and now it's starting to bear fruit. What are your thoughts? Is a move like that, does it make any sense? Or should they try to get into the sweepstakes for Giannis? Or should they just stay the course?
Well, I used to be in the camp that said trade for Giannis going back to last summer, because I felt like it just would give them an inside-outside duo that nobody could really deal with. It's like the most modern version of, Tim Duncan and David Robinson, like this Twin Towers that would just wreak havoc on everybody. Since I've seen Castle play this season, he's really come along faster than I thought. And since I've seen Harper hit the ground running, those are all looking like great draft picks, and they're looking like they're going to have a long window. So I think the idea to make a win now move right now after you already traded for Fox, I'm not sure there's a ton of logic in that. If you're San Antonio, I just did a big study on injuries in the NBA. Obviously, they're up like crazy compared to sort of past eras, and people are attributing it to pace and space. And one of my conclusions, and this might sound a little wild, but if I was an NBA team, I don't know if there's a single player over 30 years old that I would trade for besides Joker, because the rate of injury is just incredibly high among star players. And the guys who get up into that 30-plus zone, they're on the big-time max contracts, right? They're making $50+ million a year. Here's a stat for you, Paul. 30 NBA players, the highest paid 30 NBA players this year, are on track to make $525 million specifically for games they don't play in due to injury. That's basically a third of the total salary you're paying those top 30 guys is just basically a write-off because they're not even on the court, this season. We're seeing calf injuries, obviously the Achilles injuries. We're seeing a lot of wear and tear muscle stuff because of the pace and space, like I mentioned. And we're seeing Giannis repeatedly get injured here over the last 3 to 4 years. And so if you really want to build around a team right now, what's working is not the big 3-star model. What's working is lots of young legs, depth, and cost-controlled contracts, flexibility. So if you need to plug in different players, you're able to do that. And I think San Antonio would be sacrificing a lot of those things if they traded for Giannis. And so that's why I say they could take the slower road. And there may be other trades available that aren't quite as expensive as a Giannis trade would be. Because not only do you have to pay Giannis, which is a lot of money, right? He's going to want a new contract. But you also got to give up draft picks. You got to give up players to get him. And so I wouldn't do it if I was San Antonio.
Saturday mornings live on Sports 1440. Powered by Subaru. Confidence in motion. Visit Subaru.ca.
What keeps Alberta business moving? It's pallets. Whether you're shipping, manufacturing, or looking for in-house storage solutions, Hi, it's Andrew with the Pallet Recycler here in Edmonton, and we've been providing reliable, affordable, recycled, and custom pallets for local businesses for the past 30 years. Contact the Pallet Recycler at 825-474-1981 to find out why recycled pallets are the most cost-effective way to move and store your product. Learn about our recycling program as well at thepalletrecycler.ca.
This is a local backstory, a showcase of businesses we're proud to call our friends. Here's Dieter from Coleman's Greenhouse.
Well, at that time, this is back in 1962, there was a lot of immigration from Europe, and Europeans, they love vegetables. So we started out growing a lot of potatoes, but we started growing some pickling cucumbers and a few other vegetables. And we found that people actually came out and wanted to go out to our fields and pick their own. And that's what we kind of started to specialize in. We grew a whole bunch of different vegetables, the ones that everybody really loves: potatoes, carrots, beets, onions. Gave us, I think, the first traction as being a successful kind of an operation. And then, of course, we started going to the farmers markets, and that's a whole other story.
Google Coleman's today. That's Kuhlmanns.
Take the pain out of airport parking with Park to Go, your first-class parking experience. Book self-serve and valet parking and save up to 30%. Book now with promo code RADIO. That's RADIO.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca. This is Hoop City with Paul Sir on Sports 1440.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! We did it!
Here's your host, Paul Sir.
Man, oh man, how can a human voice be that smooth? It's like creamy hot chocolate. It's something that is so just delicious to listen to. Nat King Cole is unreal. Welcome back to Hoop City with Paul Sir. We're going to continue with part 2 of my interview with Ben Golliver, and I think that I really encourage you. You're doing yourself a favor. Take some time and listen to our podcast that we'll post afterwards on your favorite podcast provider. Listen to the entire interview with Ben. You just can't get better insights than this into the world of hoops. Is the best version of the Lakers as they get into the season, presuming that Austin is healthy. I think the best version of the Lakers is Luka, Austin, LeBron, and LeBron is a complementary player, just like you were referring to with Houston. Would you agree with that assessment, Ben?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, one issue the Lakers offense has had is that it's been very ISO heavy because Luka and Austin are so good as one-on-one players. But
Yes.
as you get into like the big games, the premier opponents, the playoffs, you have to have more ball movement. You have to have more point of attack. You have to keep Aiden involved. You have to make sure you've got 5 threats on the court at all times. Even if they're not all big-time scorers, you want to have more of a team dynamic as opposed to a 1-on-5 approach, right? That's really what LeBron has helped with, right? It's the connecting, the distributing. When he's in that number 3 role, he can step up as an outside shooter. He can step up as a guy who can cut if necessary, to kind of, find some stuff. But really what he's bringing to the table that nobody else does is that secondary passing, whereas like you're keeping the bigs involved. You're finding the open shooter on the weak side. You're surprising the defense. You're attacking the weak side of the defense. LeBron is, overqualified to do those kinds of things. The best third option in NBA history, if you want to call him that, right?
Absolutely.
But it's been a successful role for him. I think the challenge, though, is the defensive end. The offense, it's been very, very good. It's not like the best in the league, but, it's consistently top 5, top 10. But if your defense isn't better than somewhere in the 20s, which is what it's been this season, you're dead on arrival going to the playoffs. You'll be lucky to win a first-round series, and you'll probably lose a first-round series. And the last time I checked, every team below the Lakers in the defensive rankings, all were losing teams below 500, right? And so that kind of tells you everything you need to know. You can't be the worst defense in the playoffs and expect to go anywhere. And so I feel like it's going to have to be personnel changes to get that improvement. I don't think it's a matter of they need time to gel. I don't think that's the issue. I think it's strictly they don't have enough good on-ball perimeter defenders especially when they're relying so heavily on Reeves and Doncic for big minutes. Like, they have to have more help there. And so I don't know if they can do it without, potentially reallocating the money that's going to LeBron, right? I mean, if you're going to keep him all season and not trade him, and that seems like the way it's trending, he has the no trade clause. He's making $50-something million and not addressing this gigantic hole, right? If you fast forward to this summer and you have a decision, if you're the Lakers, do we pay LeBron big money again, or do we invest that $50 million in 3 defensive pieces, sort of like the Mavericks were trying to build around Luka, going to get a Daniel Gafford and a PJ Washington? Well, you plug those guys on the Lakers, they're better. It's just they're a better, more stable two-way team, right? So I think it's setting up a real showdown. At some point here is how much is LeBron really worth to the Lakers versus how much money do they need to set aside to make sure they can cover up some of their flaws. And by the way, Reeves needs a big new raise as well heading into next season. So some of that money is going to have to go to Austin Reeves, who clearly represents part of their future. He's a very popular fan favorite here in Los Angeles. So I guess long story short, I don't think the Lakers can cover every base with their current big 3. It's just they can't play good enough defense with those 3 guys all making big money. So they're going to have to kind of figure out who's the odd man out.
I totally agree. I think that's a wonderful assessment. Odd man out. And what I'm curious about is we've touched on this in past conversations about how franchises tend to make the same mistake over and over again. Portland drafting big men with bad feet, that sort of thing. LeBron, I mean, you've got the prime example of holding on for dear life with Kobe for far too long in terms of crippling the franchise's future by mortgaging the house to pay Kobe. What he, I guess, in one sense, deserves. That to me is an interesting part of the NBA and pro sports in general. Is your longevity leads to a lucrative your most lucrative contract when your play is starting to decline the fastest. Right. And it's a real interesting contradiction in business thought.
The NBA is the land of the golden parachute, is what you're saying.
Yeah, land of the golden parachute, like depreciating assets that you're valuing far higher than what they're actually able to produce on the court in this particular case. It is interesting about the Lakers, just watching them. They really are Luka's a marvel on offense. Reeves is just having a phenomenal breakout season, but my God, on defense, they are atrocious. Really, really god awful. And their support players are just bad. They're just bad. I mean, Rui's having a nice season. He's a nice little piece, but man, when you go into the bench, that's a brutal group. Utah is interesting. You can see what the Angels are doing there. And it appears like they are going the OKC route in trying to build up. They've got some nice pieces there. They really do.
My favorite story coming out of Utah is the Keontae George situation. If you look at some of the advanced numbers for his first year, I think he was pretty much the worst player in the league, or one of the bottom 5, worst players by something like win shares, which tries to capture your impact and everything you're doing on the court. It was the classic young guard, super inefficient, can't defend anybody, doesn't know how to run an offense, just kind of overwhelmed. I mean, we've seen even all-star guys like Darius Garland have a similar acclamation to the NBA, right? And the way the story is told, Will Hardy kind of sat Keontae George down last year, took away his minutes at times and said, basically, if you don't play defense or if you don't do the things you're supposed to be doing, you don't get to start, and it was one of those kind of tough coaching moments. It sounds like they had kind of a hard conversation last summer as well. I'm just reading the reports on this, but, essentially, again, saying, hey, if you want to be our guy, these are the things we need you to do. And he has come back much better. And maybe it's because if you played the Lakers every night, you're always going to look good, if you're a small guard. But I mean, he's had some real big scoring explosions against the Lakers this year. And he's definitely taken a big jump in his career. And so it finally looks like one of their draft picks may be hit. They've had a tough time in terms of the lottery luck in the recent years, where it always feels like they're drafting 1 or 2 spots below where the true talent is. And so, you're starting to collect this like potpourri, chilly version of the team, but like it doesn't really fit together. And you don't have that singular player. Obviously, their best guy is Lauri Markkanen, but I think most people would agree. I mean, he's probably the 3rd best player on a championship team, not the best player, certainly not the 2nd best player, right? So tough spot for them to be in. That's why coming into the season, everybody thought that they would probably be one of the big tankers, try to go out there and get like AJ DeBansa from BYU, the Utah connection. And instead, they're really outperforming expectations, I think, because some of these guys are coming together. So, to me, I just like hearing that story about George because it tells you there's still people out there trying to coach these guys, right? There's still an idea in the NBA that there can be accountability, that there can be standards. And it's not just we're going to roll the ball out and anything goes. And, hey, if you can score 25, don't worry about anything else. I mean, that's not the right message to win, right? And so I do think Will Hardy, he's kind of like a thorn in the side of the front office where, they wanted the high draft picks. And he says, you know what, I'm going to outperform that. I'm going to keep giving you a team where every time there's a trade deadline, you have to trade away half the team so that we could be bad enough to get the pick that you want. Because it feels like he just continually is just boosting them up a little bit higher than they expect.
You're listening to The Deep Dive with Paul Sir. My guest is Ben Golliver of the Washington Post. We're talking all things NBA. So let's wrap things up. I've got 2 final questions for you, Ben. Biggest story not named Cooper Flagg from this last year in the NBA.
Oh, I thought you meant from this draft class, and I was thinking, you want to talk Con Knipple maybe, or Dylan Harper?
We can definitely do that because the draft class has been really something special. Harper and Knipple have been incredible.
I mean, to me, the biggest story, and maybe this ties in a little bit with the NBA Cup, it would just be the gambling scandals, right? I mean, it's still kind of unresolved. I saw Chauncey Billups sold his house recently as he's kind of preparing for, a lengthy legal drama. The Blazers replaced him on an interim basis with Thiago Splitter, but he's not the full-time coach. They haven't officially fired Chauncey Billups. Terry Rozier is hanging in Miami as maybe a trade chip, maybe not. The Heat are letting everybody know we had no idea about the scandal before we acquired him. We should get our draft pick back because, we wouldn't have done this trade if we knew it was going to be, such a circus. And, you look at the NBA, they're talking about moving the NBA Cup out of Vegas. Well, a good reason to move it out of Vegas is because, maybe a little distance from the city where some of Chauncey Billups' poker games were going on and just the entire implication of gambling. And then even bigger than that would be this idea of expansion. Adam Silver came out this week and said, well, next year we are going to have a firm decision on are we going to expand, whether it's Seattle, Las Vegas, or who knows. I mean, obviously those are the leading cities. And if you're the NBA again, does expanding to Las Vegas in the middle of a giant gambling scandal where the FBI is involved and a sitting head coach and a player who was a starter for many years and Terry Rozier are all wrapped up in it, it just feels like it's kind of hanging over the league and hanging over the league's integrity. So, I think we're just sort of waiting for that maybe to run its course, to see what kind of legal hot water these guys are in and to see, how the NBA adjusts or doesn't adjust as it goes forward. It feels to me like their wholesale embrace of gambling in general has kind of stayed the same. It hasn't been, major new initiatives. They haven't dropped any partners. Maybe the distance from Vegas is the one thing that we could see. But, to me, I do feel like that is one of the biggest deals because every night you see some calls like, I don't know if you saw the Blazers Kings game last night where Denny is racing up the court and he quote unquote gets fouled by Russell Westbrook. And you watch the replay. It doesn't seem like there's any contact between those two players. He shoots 2 free throws and that's the game. They win, right? And it used to be, oh, the refs suck. We don't like the refs. Now when you look at comments on a play like that, it's the NBA is rigged. The NBA is rigged. They want, Vegas, they want this outcome, et cetera, et cetera. And it's very hard to get your reputation back. It's very hard to reclaim credibility when you have an open scandal, right? And when you really haven't made any major initiatives to address the issue. And so, to me, I think that's other than the injury issue that we talked about earlier, that's what concerns me the most. I want people to believe, and I want the league to, be 100% on the up and up, where you feel like every night you're getting a fairly refereed game, where you feel like wins and losses are the most important thing, not dollars and cents. And, I think unfortunately for the NBA, they've been wrapped up in this thing all season.
Well, they have. And when you sell your soul, which they have, to gambling, you reap what you sow. And
you make your bed, huh?
You really have. You really have. And it's hard to now try to put the halo back in place because the horns are there. And now you've got this huge scandal that's looming. And and like you said, there's just so many calls and so many games you go, that this is not worthy of this league to have officiating like that, determining oftentimes outcomes of games, actual outcomes of games. And man, oh man, we've come way too far to have that be such an important part of the game. One of the annoying things about watching an NBA game is the commercials, all gambling, those god-awful gambling commercials that are just the worst in the world. And you're just bombarded with that. And I think, Mike, what's that doing to kids? And then that can link into a whole just rabbit hole of NIL money trickling down into colleges, into high schools, and how that's just changing the whole psychology of the game. But let's look ahead, 2026. What do you think the biggest story is going to be when this NBA season wraps up? Is it going to be a Thunder repeat, or is it going to be something else?
Well, I think that there's a chance we're going to get history from the Thunder. I think that there's a really good chance they win 70, and I think they got a shot at winning 74. And I think that, if you flash back a decade when Golden State was going on their run, what you saw was that momentum really built after the All-Star break. Now, they came out of the gate just like the Thunder. I mean, it was like 24-0 for Golden State. So They announced their arrival. They set the tone. It was clear, like, these guys mean business. And they were such a star-studded team that they carried the entire league from a narrative standpoint that whole season, right up to the end when they blew it. And the 3-1 lead goes down in history as one of the craziest finals of all time, right?
Absolutely.
But I think with the Thunder, they have the discipline and they have the night-to-night consistency. They have the depth. They just have every base covered. Their defense is so good that I think if they continue on this current pace after the All-Star break, they're not as star-studded as those Warriors teams were. They don't have a Jordan. They got Shea. I love Shea. You love Shea. I know everybody up in your neck of the wood loves Shea, but he's not that resident Jordan Curry figure, right? Now, their numbers are pretty similar. Statistics are pretty similar. They're winning games just like those guys won games, but just the fame factor maybe isn't there. But I think once you really start to, if they're on like a count where it's like, hey, they're on pace for 75, they're on pace for 76, they haven't lost in a month, they just ripped off another 12-game winning streak, like that kind of thing, there's a chance that Oklahoma City is going to get quite a bit more attention this year than even they did last year when they were the best team in the league as well. Because I think that there's just kind of this rallying effect when history is at stake where, I remember in 2016, I never thought Jordan's 72-10 record would go down. I made a point to go to the last game up in the Bay Area because I wanted to see it to believe it. I wanted to actually believe they could.
So you were there.
I was there. Well, it's a funny story, Paul, because I had the choice that night. Do I go see Golden State win 73 or do I watch Kobe's last game? And I made what most people would say was the wrong choice because, Kobe went out gunning and, I wound up seeing them a very routine victory over the Memphis Grizzlies, which wound up not being as historic as it could be once they lost the finals. And, it's no longer the greatest season ever, right? If you don't have the championship. So anyway, I think Oklahoma City not only has a chance to win 70, like I said, third team ever, chance to get 74, which would be most wins ever, chance for the highest point differential of all time, especially down the stretch of this season when teams are tanking and getting ready for the draft. I mean, there's going to be a lot of wins available to them. And then they have a chance to go back-to-back, which we haven't seen since the Warriors in 2017 to 2018. That makes them the story to me. I think that puts them right on center stage, and I think that could get a lot of people interested here to see how does this team in the middle of nowhere, quote unquote, with all these young guys, how do they just do it at this pace, in a pace that we've never seen before?
Well, and I agree with you, particularly about the fact that they are in the middle of nowhere, because they really are. I mean, Oklahoma City, that is an island in the middle of the prairies, and to have the kind of franchise that they have, the kind of organization that they have to accomplish what they are, the way I think they've reshaped the way the NBA sees itself. I think all of those impacts are really something special. So I agree. I think that's going to be an intriguing part of the season. My final thought would be, can San Antonio or Denver do the thing when they match up? And, you see signs and you go, if you can figure a little more out about Shea's game, and that's where it comes in. It's kind of like what you were describing with Miami. It's a gimmick. Shea's game is not gimmicky, but people are going to be scratching their heads, configuring things, trying to figure out how can we make someone else beat us. Like you said, if they have an Achilles heel, it is inconsistent 3-point shooting from their spot up, third through eighth man on the rotation, that might not be able to consistently knock it down. And Indiana took them to 7 games. That still amazes me, to think that this poor, woeful Indiana Pacer game last year took OKC to 7 games. It can happen. So it's going to be really intriguing.
You'll love a quote from Las Vegas. Steph Castle said, "Hey, beating Oklahoma City shows that we're serious, because people were saying they were unbeatable." And that unbeatable word is one of those that should always raise sports fans' ears, right? It should always get you paying attention a little bit closer, because rarely is a team unbeatable. An undefeated season in football is pretty rare. College football is very rare. Never happened in basketball, right? I mean, everybody's beatable on a given night. And Indiana took them to 7. Denver took them to 7. Maybe a little bit better health luck, a little bit worse shooting luck for Oklahoma City. Those series could have gone the other way. And they're also going to be having pretty heavy legs, because they made a deep run last year when a lot of other teams, San Antonio was on vacation. Wemby was in China with the monks, right? So those kinds of things tend to catch up to people when they get to the playoffs, right? So I think it's going to be a fascinating postseason run. I wouldn't be surprised at all if I'm spending a decent amount of time back there in Oklahoma City. I really enjoyed my time last year there. And I got to say, it's arguably the best coach team I've ever seen in the NBA in terms of their night-to-night preparedness, effort level. I mean, that's the hardest part in the NBA, is to get guys to play hard, because everybody's got the guaranteed contracts and there's always another game. So, you don't play well tonight, you can always make up for it tomorrow. Those kinds of human nature things, Oklahoma City has just conquered. Every night they play hard, and it's been a sight to behold. So I look forward to that, certainly in 2026 and beyond.
I love when certain teams pull the rest of the league up to a new level by setting an example that everybody else knows now. There's a benchmark, and the water table is actually higher than where we thought it was before. Yeah, and they certainly have done that.
Well, they've scared some people too. You send them back to the tank race. There's some teams who are saying, "Hey, that water's too deep for us." That's
right.
We gotta go find some younger talent, and maybe we'll try again in a couple of years, right? It's funny how that works out. The Golden State had the same thing, by the way. There was a lot of teams back in the mid 2010s who said, "Hey, we don't have a shot here." Cleveland said, "Oh yeah, we're going to be able to do it. Let's load up and let's go toe to toe with them." San Antonio, same deal. And then there were some other teams that said, "Hey, check back with us in a couple of years. We're going to go get some lottery picks.
We're going to jump in the pool right away."
Yeah,
that's for sure. Well, Merry Christmas, Ben. Thank you so much for this. And I look forward to talking with you early in the new year. I hope you have a great time with your family. Thanks for all the time, all the insights. It's a great pleasure. It truly is.
It's my pleasure. Happy holidays to you and yours. And, hope you get some Cancun time or something here to break up this winter, maybe, huh?
Well, we need that. We need that. But you know what? I was out playing tennis this morning. You can't beat it. It's 30 below. I'm walking into the tennis court and I'm going, this is great. I'm still hitting the ball.
Lungs of steel. Lungs of steel.
That's right. Take care, Ben.
All right. Take care.
Ben Golliver, Washington Post, joining me on the Hoop City with Paul Sir here on Sports 1440.
Saturday mornings live on Sports 1440. Powered by Subaru, a world-class leader in environmental performance. Visit Subaru.ca.
Born from work, built for play. Carhartt's all-new Super Dux Tech Jackets are built for hard-working people who can't sacrifice mobility for durability. This ultra-tough gear fights off wind, snow, and cold, while full-swing technology flexes with every move and still packs 3M insulation for maximum warmth. Try your new Carhartt Super Dux at JobSite Workwear. 3 locations in Edmonton and online at jobsiteworkwear.ca.
JobSite Workwear, tough gear for tough jobs.
Hard to believe it's already that time of year again. Time to get your festive aluminum pole at Metal Supermarkets, where the staff will be completing feats of strength to get your metal ready without any grievances. When your project needs a festive miracle, Metal Supermarkets offers in-house bending, often by the next day. Plus, metal cut to your exact specifications, fast. The convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
This holiday, give yourself an all-access pass to the music you love. Quello has iconic holiday concerts and nostalgic Christmas specials, ready to stream anytime. Get your pass to the perfect holiday atmosphere. Visit Quello.com.
Listen to over 500 radio stations from anywhere in Canada with Radio Player Canada, the must-have app that's as Canadian as you are. Friendly, ready to party, great company. Enjoy every type of radio station, anywhere, anytime. Listen through your phone, Sonos, Google Chromecast, Google Home, Amazon Echo, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto. Download the Radio Player Canada app today. It's where Canadian radio plays.
What keeps Alberta business moving? It's pallets, whether you're shipping, manufacturing, or looking for in-house storage solutions. Hi, it's Andrew with the Pallet Recycler here in Edmonton, and we've been providing reliable, affordable, recycled, and custom pallets for local businesses for the past 30 years. Contact the Pallet Recycler at 825-474-1981 to find out why recycled pallets are the most cost-effective way to move and store your product. Learn about our recycling program as well at thepalletrecycler.ca. This is Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
This is Hoop City with Paul Sir on Sports 1440.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! We did it!
Here's your host, Paul Sir.
Well, I've been happy to play Manib and Josh's playlist today, as these are their favorite songs. Guys, do you know who that singer was? Do you know who that was?
I'm very aware that it was Burl Ives.
You are aware?
Yeah.
You're musical theater.
This is a Fenwick family classic right here.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Burl Ives. Now, Burl Ives was also a great actor, along with being this very, kind of a large man, beard, kind of had a grandfatherly look about him, but he was a great actor. He Cat on a Hot Tin Roof with Paul Newman and Elizabeth Taylor, great westerns. So very versatile. So not only do you get great hoops talk, you get musical education every week here as well.
And we might be able to get a performance out of you one of these days.
One of these days. You never know. You never know. Now, I did sing the national anthem once. We were in Indiana, and we went to we went to a couple of great gyms when I was with the Edmonton Energy back in 2008. We did this Eastern swing, and we went to this one place in Muncie, Indiana, and they had this great old gym that was part of the CBA way back in the day in basketball crazy Indiana. And when we got to game time, they didn't have the Canadian national anthem. So I said, give me the mic. I'll sing it. So we sang it. And we even had the guys on the team, the Energy, Lee Scruggs, all these guys singing the Canadian national anthem. And the Americans were a bit perplexed as to what was actually going on. So easy to digress.
They were perplexed because somebody actually knew the Canadian anthem.
Well,
They
yeah,
don't
somebody was dumb
usually.
enough to sing it with a very I have a decent voice, but it's pretty mediocre. So nobody was going home asking to get it on Spotify. That's for sure. So, couple of things, guys, before we have to wrap the show up today. Manib, you had a question about Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I think this class has been very, very good. Obviously, we expected, I think, coming into the year for it to be a little bit deeper of a class. We knew that the first couple picks were going to be good. Obviously, the Cooper Flags and the big names and things. But I was a little bit curious. Obviously, we are 30 games into the year, maybe 25 games into the year. Quarter way through, like, is there a solidified Rookie of the Year in your eyes, or obviously we need to see a little bit more? But like, who are the guys that have stood out to you?
Well, the big three to me are, I think Con Kneppel has exceeded expectations. I don't think the question, it's real interesting because the question for him coming out of Duke was, is he athletic enough to compete in the NBA? And he certainly has blown that consideration out of the water. Fabulous start with a mediocre Charlotte Hornets team. So one of the great things for a rookie like him who has the confidence and the aggressiveness to go out there, wouldn't it be great if Grady Dick had 10% of Kneppel's aggressiveness when he's out there playing? I mean, they're very different players, but when I watch Grady play, I go, man, first of all, how did they pick him for the shaving commercials? How in the world? The guy doesn't even, I don't even think he has to shave.
Yeah, they should have picked Jamal Shadd.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, Grady Dick. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's just a terrible choice. T-Mac, and by the way, T-Mac didn't call him in his bathroom before practice. So, but anyway, I think Con Kneppel, if you had to pick today, I would probably pick Kneppel. Harper from San Antonio is a sleeper. Boy, is that guy good. I'm curious to see what his numbers are going to be like for the entire year. And I think this goes to your point, Manib, is do we need the whole year? Because Cooper Flag is really coming on, not just in terms of offensive numbers and productivity, but his ability to impact the entire game with his versatility as well. I mean, the other night, Dallas is winning basketball games now that Davis is healthy. And he really is already I think he's turning 19 today.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, already he is, I think, an upper echelon, upper 20% of the league right now in terms of what he's able to do.
Well, this was the reason why he was the number one pick. Obviously, there was a lot of hype around Cooper Flag, and I think he has started to. I didn't love that they thought he should play point guard.
Well, didn't love it. It was the dumbest thing. I mean, Jason Kidd. I mean, that was so stupid.
Jason Kidd might have been starting him at point guard to get Nico fired.
Oh, that
Good
is
point.
This is.
Josh,
I'm not trying to put on a tinfoil hat or anything.
Who shot Kennedy, Josh? Is Elvis still alive?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, Josh, you might.
Walt Disney is on the moon, though.
Cryogenically frozen.
Yeah, another name
revived on the moon.
Another name in there should be Derek Queen, I think.
Absolutely.
What I would add to that, I think New Orleans might have two. I think
Jeremiah
Fears, I think, has to be in that conversation. That
was my pick going into the year of like rookie who might not win Rookie of the Year, but will make a big impact.
Yeah, I think that's
strictly because Zero Fears is his jersey.
Yeah, and VJ Edgecombe, I think there's a.
He's nice. He's really nice. Even Ace Bailey the other night against the Lakers, which was a great game because it was like a pickup game at the YMCA. There was zero defense by either team. It was marvelous to watch the offensive onslaughts by both teams. But my gosh, the Lakers, if they're desperately trying to address their defensive deficiencies right now. Josh, before I forget, what are our poll results today?
Yeah. So last week, people were very bullish on the Thunder. A lot of 76 wins to finish the season. It's very much shifted this week. The leading vote is 70 wins. They'll finish with 70-ish wins at the end of the season.
We have
not too shabby.
We have such a smart fan base because I think we all have to pay attention this week, and it raises our eyebrows. You have to look at the Thunder and go, well, wait a second. They are beatable. There are things that good teams can do to compete with this team. So I think that's a good adjustment, and I think it was a good question to ask this week, because last week they were just tearing everybody up. I think everybody expected them to roll through the NBA Cup, and then those darn San Antonio Spurs and that absolute marvel of nature, Victor Wembanyama. My gosh, what he can do at 7'4", whatever he is, 7'4", 7'5". But what he does is it's just marvelous. Manib, again, your show Sunday mornings.
Sunday morning, 9 a.m.
9 a.m. here on Sport 1440. Join them. Great sport talk. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Love the show.
This is an especially hard time this time of year for myself and my family, as we remember our son Ben, who left us far too early, almost 3 years ago. But the way Ben lived his life is, I think, so in keeping with what the true meaning of Christmas really is, which is to be kind to each other, to be giving to each other, and to think the best of each other. So if you have people in your life that you need to connect with them now. Don't wait. Connect with them now. Think the best of others. Have a wonderful holiday season. Josh, thank you so much for everything. I hope you have a great Christmas. We're taking a couple of weeks off. We'll be back on the air on January 10th. And I also want to encourage you, please listen to our podcast. Josh, thank you for all that you do.
I'm happy to do it, Paul, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the new year.
Can't wait. And everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, stay safe, have a wonderful holiday season. You've been listening to Hoop City with Paul Sir on your sports leader, Sports 1440.
From the locker room to your radio, Sports 1440 is Edmonton's sports leader. Real talk, big personalities, and your texts. It's interactive. It's fun. It's where Edmonton talks sports. Sports 1440. Saturday